fire, air. Long ago, the four nations lived together in harmony. Then, everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. Only the Avatar, master of all four elements, could stop them. But when the world needed him most, he vanished. 100 years passed, and my brother and I discovered the new Avatar, an airbender named Aang. And although his airbending skills are great, he has a lot to learn before he's ready to save anyone. But I believe Aang can save the world.
Inertia is a property of matter.
No, it's still going. And with that, we open up Shredded Cels, episode 18.
Just like Energizer.
Indeed. I am your host, Alex Schmitz, and with me here today is Clara Heimberger.
Hey.
Chris Flake. It's still going. What are you talking about? Yes, it is.
You blind.
And Kenneth McNulty.
Actually, this is Frank West, a philanthropist journalist.
Oh, really?
He's covered wars, you know.
Yeah, I have.
That's true. And we also have Jeremy Zajac.
4 tries. That is their 4th try, ladies and gentlemen, and it's gotten progressively worse, believe it or not.
No, we didn't laugh in the middle of it because Kenny didn't say "ong" until the end.
You guys are imagining that. I didn't say anything. I said "Aang." You guys are saying "ong."
No, you said "Aang."
You said "ong" at the very end this time. You
Thank
Yeah.
you guys. See, that's how the movie got you. It was so bad. That's all you say with that.
What movie?
I've not actually seen the
They-
movie.
By
so-
Midnight
Don't
Shyamalan?
ever.
Don't.
And like
that
Shyamalan
one.
ruined that.
He did.
Shyamalan.
I refuse to
say it like that.
I refuse to say his name correctly because he butchered my favorite series. So
Totally whitewashed the cast.
It's true.
Whitewash?
Yeah.
And then he made
all
the
the
Fire
bad guys
Nation?
were Indians and everyone else was white.
yeah, they were Arabic and
Oh.
Indian. They had to have fire near them to bend it. Aang was no. Aang
Aang
was
was no.
Ahsoka. What?
Katara.
Oh, jeez.
At least they completely tried
This
to not get
podcast
it
is
right.
not about
Who's
Avatar
Katara?
at all.
Katara.
Oh.
Nope.
Yeah.
All right. So, yes, thank you guys very much for joining us for this episode. Our topic is that Donkey Kong I hear?
You're welcome.
Our topic for this week is going to be the film. What is it called? It's
Prepared we are.
the full title of it is Royal Space Force: The Wings of Honneamise.
Fireworks.
But I've heard people just call it the Wings of Honneamise because
Why
Royal
would
Space
we not
Force.
add the extra crap?
Royal Space Force is kind of redundant or silly.
Sorry.
Now we're doing Skyrim.
Yeah, really. Okay, sorry. Just kind of.
All right.
I listened.
But before we get into the animation we've watched since last podcast, I figured we should discuss some emails that we've gotten. I wanted
We got
to,
emails?
I wanted to do this last week, but we sort of had to cut the ending of the podcast
I thought
short.
there was more.
No.
What more
I'm not
emails?
in charge
We're really
of this.
popular, guys. These are just the 2 favorites we picked out of hundreds
out
of
of
emails.
hundreds of emails.
You're special.
That's right.
Emails.
This first one is from my sister Olivia, who's written into the podcast in the past. She says, "Hi Alex, after listening to episodes 14 and 15, I haven't gotten around to watching 13 yet. I decided it was about high time I sent my first piece of fan mail for Shredded Cels this year. By the way, are you guys not doing broken controllers this year? But the only thing I really have to say is that you need to go grab a thesaurus and look up some adjectives for the word interesting because he uses it a lot in episode 14. Looking forward to episode 16, your favorite sister."
You have another sister?
Favorite?
I do.
He has
Oh.
two.
I can't say that she's my favorite because
sorry,
that would be
Alex's
dangerous.
Why would that be dangerous?
Because he's another one.
Because I have another one. I
Is
can't
the
call.
other one older?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, she's older than my Olivia, but younger than me.
He's the oldest.
I am the oldest.
He's
Oh.
I'm the man of the house, you might say.
Don't you have a
Then
dad?
why are you scared?
Well, because they're going to be mad at me if I call one of them
They're listening right now. So, anyways, the other email is very special.
And that email came out. That was a couple of weeks ago. So before we did episode 16 or 17. So it's a little delayed, but we got to it. I will try to be better about the word interesting, Olivia.
just said
Sorry.
it.
Yeah, you just said it.
We're going to count. Let's have a counter. All right, that's 1.
Thank you. Mark was
Tally.
saying that apparently I use the word very nice as a transition between
No.
topics an awful
It's
lot.
not very nice. It's just nice.
Yeah, just nice. We'll count that too.
You just go, nice.
Tally.
So,
We have 2 counters.
It's a good transition word. What can I say?
A good transition is Shazam! And then you
I'll
keep
count
going.
nice.
I'll
you
use-
count interesting. Got it? Let's go.
I'll use Shazam from now on.
All right,
okay?
we'll count that too.
Okay,
go
so
ahead.
there are 3 counters going on now. The second one was one that Amy Brighter forged to me because she's the one who gets the techheads at avwproductions.com emails, obviously, since she's our producer. And we got a fan from a girl that none of us actually know, which is the first time this has happened for a tech.
We have hundreds
podcast.
of fans.
No, we don't.
Yeah, we don't.
Yes. According to Kenny, we do. So she says, hello, my name is Abby. The last few days I've been listening to your guys' podcast practically nonstop. You guys are super hilarious, by the way. I super liked your FMA Brotherhood podcast. It was wonderful. I'm really excited to listen to more and hope you guys do a Oron High School Host Club episode because it's great. I hope this got to the right people or I'm going to feel really dumb. So that was her first email.
I feel like we have to
It went to the right people, don't worry.
Yeah,
Yes,
it
it
went
did.
to the right
She's
people.
so fantastic for listening and liking us. I feel like we have to at least mention that like once. The Orahama High School? Is that?
Oron High School Host Club.
Or high school, sorry.
I've seen the first episode.
I know what it is.
Wait, what is it?
It's
It's an all-boys high school, isn't it? The one where the girl sneaks in, is that it?
yes.
Yeah.
Basically, there's this girl that sneaks into this host club in a all-male high school, and she's dressed up as a guy, and comedic hijinks ensue.
Hijinks,
and
right
it's,
word.
Jeremy, you still need to get a Twitter.
it's a rom-com. Oh, well, we're gonna get to that. Don't you worry. So thank you, Abby, very much for emailing us. I actually emailed.
You're wonderful.
I emailed her back after that and was like, "Thanks for listening. I'm curious, how did you hear about us?" Because I was like, I wonder how that happened. She said, "Well, I was at the iTunes store looking for the Golden Time Lover, one of the openings for Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, which you probably know. It's actually the third one.
You do know.
They don't have it, which is kind of disappointing, but I did find your podcast. I thought it looked good. By the way, thank you for answering my email. I literally screamed. I got a lot of weird looks in the library."
Well, here's
Story
your
of my life.
So we're giving you a shout out, Abby. You're a wonderful person, and keep listening because we will give you constant shout outs
That's right.
because you're awesome.
You are awesome, man.
And if we get other emails, we'll give shout outs to them too, right?
That's
I think
right.
Clara needs to
All
read
the
these
emails.
like emails from now on in that
Like,
voice.
yeah, turrets emails.
Yeah, do a turd voice for us.
What should I say?
Are you still there?
Are you still there?
How did
That's really
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
We need to use that for a Tech Heads video of some sort. I don't know
Okay.
what.
This just in, the turret from, what is
no.
it called? I just forgot. The turret from Portal is here to read emails. More on this.
He
We
just
need like
sounds
an
the guy
auto
from
tune
Korra.
thing too.
Oh my god, that'd be so cool. All right, sorry, anyways.
All right. And then finally, she actually tweeted about us on her Twitter.
That's how I found her.
Yes, Kenneth.
She
uh,
found me.
She started following me, actually. Yeah, and I
She
looked
didn't
and I was
follow
like,
me.
and her specific thing on it says, Jeremy should get.
exactly, because her exact Twitter thing said, Fullmetal Alchemist and Oron High School Host Club, been listening to Tech Heads Shredded Cels. Your guys rock. Jeremy needs a Twitter so I can follow. So for those of you who haven't been listening to us for a while, the Jeremy Twitter whole comment fiasco of 2011, 2012 has been an ongoing thing for the entire duration of Shredded Cels' existence. And now we know for a fact that if Jeremy got a Twitter, he'd have at least one follower.
And all of us, you at least have
Oh, yeah,
5.
you'd
We want to
have
keep it an even number.
5? Yeah, 5.
Yep. So
Even
Not
number.
an even
It's a
number.
hard-
yeah. So
Please.
Jeremy, there's at least one Jer Bear fan out there who's demanding a Twitter.
He gave you a thumbs up, don't worry.
His Twitter needs to be Jerbear.
I'm sorry, Jeremy.
No comment. Really, Jeremy?
He just does not. The face, the do not want face is what he has right now. So that's the only way to describe it.
You don't want fans or you don't want Twitter?
Neither. I'm his translator.
No. You can't
You could
deny
read
the
his
fans,
face.
Jeremy. You can't deny the fans.
That
Apparently-
face can.
He's denying the fans.
It actually
Jeremy.
looks more like Mangusta to me. I think he really wants them.
Yeah, I think he does too.
I agree. Jeremy definitely wants
That's
a
definitely
Twitter.
Mangusta.
Since he's not talking, we can go ahead and say it for him.
Here, let me show you my my adept use of sign language.
You're number 1. You're number 2. My dad
Oh,
always says
the
that.
new
He's like, you're number 1.
gestures.
And, does the gesture toward me. I'm like, thanks, Dad.
You're number 1.
Yeah, he says it to me. I'm like, always do you, Dad.
I love you,
cry.
Dad.
Well, getting back to the podcast. What's a podcast?
Yes, back to the podcast. Oh, one final thing. My Olivia, my sister, emailed me more recently asking if Fate Zero, which is one of the shows that we did a couple
Yeah.
episodes ago, would be appropriate for a 13-year-old.
No.
And I had to tell her, nope.
Chuck, just send her back Chuck Testa with the nope.
Wait, why would it be
Dude. Blood.
so?
There is blood.
They're 13-year-olds. I was 14 before I played Halo, dude. You gotta wait till you're 14. Then adult
Halo's-
stuff.
I was like 8
9.
and saw RoboCop 1 through 3.
Okay, that's acceptable.
I have you beat.
Oh.
First R-rated movie I saw when I was 7 was Silence of the Lambs.
What?
Oh, that's right. You told me that.
I saw that like
Okay.
in like the reflection of a window when I was like making food or something, and it was on my TV, and I was watching it through the reflection because I didn't actually want to turn around and watch it.
It rubs the lotion on the skin.
I don't remember my first R-rated movie, but I distinctly remember for some reason that the first PG-13 movie I ever watched was the first Spider-Man movie.
Really? Mm-hmm. One I watched was Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark. The first like blood I've ever saw. Because the part my mom was like, you can sit and watch. The guy got destroyed by the propeller, and I was like, violence! Hooray! I was like 6 or 7. It was the first blood I ever saw.
Nice.
What'd your mom say?
She was like, ah! My dad was like, get him out of here.
It was your dad that wanted you out of there?
I was number 1. He didn't want me there.
Apparently. All right. So, yeah, why don't we talk about the animation we've watched since last week? Chris, have you been watching anything?
Oh, yeah.
I tried to watch Naruto, actually, because the new one came out today. Because today's
Tried?
Thursday. I don't
You couldn't watch your
They've
favorite
been doing
show.
the same subtitles for, like, ever. And today they have a different font for it, and I can't read it.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Like
It's like
literally
half
can't
the
read
letters
screen?
have slices through them. So, like, there's no dots for the eyes, so they look like L's. I'm just like, whoa. And then they go by really fast. So whenever somebody says something, I'm like, I got half of that sentence. What's going on?
That's funny. Piece it together and make up your own. Like this is, and you're like, what?
And the animation's different, too. So I'm like, what is going on?
What, as in Shippuden, they changed the animation?
They change it all the time.
Shippuden.
Oh, really?
You can tell every once in a while, but like this episode, they must have just chose to change something, and there's something odd about it, and I cannot figure out what it is besides just the
Well,
subtitle.
it's probably because with various shows, different animators are like in charge of different episodes. I distinctly remember it's one of the earlier episodes of Gurren Lagann. It's where they're fighting like the multi-headed beast man or whatever. It's probably the worst episode of the whole show because it's
Wow.
nothing that amazing really happens in it, and the
A
animation.
three-headed beast man's not amazing?
Well, it's not a three-headed beast man. It's like a bunch of basically just heads, and they combine together into one
That's
beast
even
man.
cooler.
No,
It's like
it's
an
really
executor.
not. And the animation you can tell is distinctly different. Like it's really wonky, and I don't like it.
I can understand. Yeah, I mean, every show has that. Like, I remember, during one of the Naruto episodes, I looked over your shoulder, the pain fight, where everything was just weird with the water. There's like they go into a different world. It felt like, and
they
I was
just
like something's
completely
wrong.
changed. Like
Yeah,
it wasn't
was-
like a minor animation.
It was a
change.
180 shift
It was
animation mid-episode.
literally
Like
the
sometimes it just
completely
gets
different
really
show.
nice looking, and then other times it's like,
No.
we're going back to normal.
So they did
Well,
$10 budget, and then went back to
It was
2.
the planetary devastation. I don't know if you saw that, but like the way that they animated that was so weird. Everybody was like an oval. It was weird.
What,
It was weird,
what is
man.
actually happening right now in the anime? Because I just read it online. I don't watch it
right
anymore.
now, at least based on the episode, or at least half of the episode that I just saw, Kakashi was fighting the 2-7 Ninja Swordsman of the Mist.
The 2-7
Which
Ninja
is-
Swordsman.
Haku and Zabuza?
That was actually something.
No, the next two, the one that
Those
that
don't matter.
sews people together, and then the other one
They
is a blade
don't
that
matter.
blows
That's
them up.
actually something that's probably kind of cool about the anime is that they get the chance to put some fill in some gaps that manga leaves. That I distinctly recall in the manga, Kakashi he beats Zabuza and is then like,
Right.
I'm gonna go on a rage, and then I'm mad. I'm gonna go fight all the 7 swordsmen, and then the next time we see him, he's like beating them all, and you don't get to see any of the fights he
Wait,
has
really?
with
Yeah,
them.
He's
So
fighting
tell
him
me
right now.
He's just kind of like, I'm going to beat 7 swords because why not? And he comes back like, that was great. And they're like, what?
Right now,
Because
he's fighting
Kakashi.
with.
You don't
No,
question
Kakashi's my
him.
favorite. Don't
I
get me
love
wrong.
him. I'm
Yeah.
having
No, my
major
guy's your
Kakashi
favorite.
feels.
Dynamic entry.
No. Lee's my favorite, dude.
No. Oh, okay. Well, he's fighting with my guy to fight the.
Dude, they
one-
raced and hit each other with pans.
What? Oh, that's right. One of their episodes was that they had to have a final
Countdown.
rival fight, I guess, before Kakashi was
Those are my
labeled
favorite
as
gifts of
Hokage.
all time.
And so he just
hilarious.
they just take off in this normal foot race, and the whole time they're hitting each other with pans and stuff. It was hilarious.
It was not a drying pan.
Oh, the drying pan joke. It never gets old.
anyways.
And then you also told me you finished Full Alchemist Brotherhood.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I have.
Yep.
I completely finished that, and I like
So-
Brotherhood better than the other one.
Oh, so you have reached that conclusion.
Yes.
Exactly.
Like everyone else.
Yeah.
Well, you'd be surprised. I've seen some people online who rip into Brotherhood and say that their original is far superior. So
I haven't seen that happen before, but I really liked Brotherhood. I did not. I liked them both, but at that time, I liked the original one better than Brotherhood. And seeing all of it, Brotherhood made much more sense. than the other one.
You mean I like that crappy ending in the first?
How did the first one end?
Crappily.
Do we want to spoil it here?
Wasn't Ed like, psst, psst, or not Ed, Al became like the stone or something? I don't know.
Yeah, Al became a philosopher's stone. Basically,
I
okay,
wish for the reset button to appear.
real quick spoilers for FMA. Okay, they're gone. How it ends is Ed gets killed by one of the homunculi. Of
course.
And then Al's like, he's got the philosopher's stone in himself, and he's like, I'm going to use this to bring my brother back and sacrifice myself. So Ed comes back, and then Ed's like, oh, well, that kind of sucks. Al's dead. I know. I'm going to sacrifice myself to bring Al back. And then Al ends up coming back in his normal body, and Ed is sent into the world, into our world,
Oh,
like
that's right.
real world, in like late 1930s.
IRL?
Because apparently how it works is there's a parallel world. The Full Alchemist world is parallel to our world
Dude.
in late 1930s, and the souls from our world are what powers the alchemy of FMA.
I'd like to point out he was sent into Nazi Germany. Just gonna throw that right out there.
Oh,
Blonde
Was it-
hair with
Blue
He
eyes.
had golden eyes.
Golden Eyes, did he?
yeah.
He had golden eyes. Ed
It's
has
true.
golden eyes.
So what you're telling me
And
is it had nothing to do with the manga at that point. It
No.
completely went on its own thing and just made.
That's why I only read manga.
Why is that a thing? How could they get away with it?
Somebody thought it was better, so
You might
they
want to
just
adjust
did it.
your hipster glasses.
Well, the reason that they did that was because that was
I'm
way back
not
in
a hipster.
2004, like mid 2000s. The manga didn't finish until like 2010.
That's so.
So
They finished it ahead of time?
it's not such a bad. I mean, the way I look at it, there are two ways you can go about it. You can either at that point when they caught up with the manga storyline, and so obviously the manga is still going to be going on for years and years. So they could either be like go the route that a lot of Naruto and One Piece and Bleach have gone, where it's like, okay, we reach a point, we're gonna do some filler arcs, we're gonna slow down the pacing of the episode, so it's like one chapter per episode, so that we don't overtake the manga, basically.
Yeah.
Or you can decide to do what they did, which is basically, okay, we're just gonna go in a completely different direction. And apparently Arakawa, who's the manga creator, actually said the ending that they did for the original anime, it's far different than what I had envisioned, but I still approve of it. Like, it's interesting what they did with my
Even that
characters.
crappy villain.
Even the crappy villain.
Oh, come on. Don't disagree with me.
Was
Well, no,
Hohenheim
I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying Arakawa seemed okay with it.
was Hohenheim like the bad guy in the original one?
He wasn't a bad guy, but he wasn't.
In Brotherhood,
that
he definitely
good.
seemed much nicer.
No, he was for sure. Yeah, the Hohenheim.
Hohenheim was a genuinely likable character in Brotherhood.
Right.
Like maybe 75 seconds I think he appeared overall in FMA. He was just kind of there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because apparently he's been sacrificing people's lives over the years in order to keep himself alive.
Which is the complete opposite of what he's doing in Brotherhood.
exactly.
Oh, he's draining his life to save them.
Well, not exactly.
Oh, okay.
But
Because that's a complete
he's a
opposite.
different
Instead
way
of killing them, he just learns everybody's names of the Philosopher's Stone
inside of himself.
and then uses them to bring everybody.
Anyways,
Yeah.
this isn't the FMA podcast. We already did one of those. Clara, what have you been watching?
Well, I haven't been really watching anything because I've been studying for my philosophy test tomorrow.
Yeah.
But it's not fun. And
Philosophy.
Which
philosophy.
Falafel, I
Philosophy.
mean, what's it
1200 laws, and reasoning and stuff.
I had to take
Principles
that
of reasoning?
Yeah, that.
I like that
So
class.
it's falafel, pretzel of reasoning.
Falafel, yeah.
I can help if you're confused. I like
I
the
mean,
class.
like, I'm getting it okay.
You remember
but I
that.
mean, what
I'm
if-
taking it next.
But I have been reading Halloween stuff because it was Halloween recently, and I finished one called Ibitsu. And in it, the main character goes to, like, one day, just throws trash out, and there's this girl in a white Lolita dress with an umbrella. It's all torn up, and she's all dirty, sitting on these bags of garbage. And he's like, question mark, okay, whatever. So then he leaves, and the next day he comes back, she's still there, and asks, hey, well, she asks him, do you have a sister? And he's like, yeah, bye. And so there's an urban legend that a girl in a Lolita dress sits there and asks you if you have a sister, if you have a sister. And if you say yes, she interprets that as, I need one, and she will forcibly become that person's younger sister. But if you say no, you don't have one, that means that if you do have one and you say you don't have one, that means you don't need one, and she will go and kill that little sister. So she forcibly inserts herself into his life and starts wreaking havoc, and his little sister gets dragged into it too. And at the end, we don't know where she is, but I mean, the Lolita ends up killing the main character and putting his organs inside the plush toy that she carries around with her. And it's just dark, and I didn't expect it to end that way.
Where did you find this?
It's on the website I read it on is thespectrum.net, and there's a Halloween section every Halloween.
Freddy's face.
But it was creepy.
Okay.
It gave me heebie-jeebies, but I mean,
me
you
the
know.
Metal
Jibbles.
Alchemist was dark.
Dude,
no,
I thought the room we turned the lights was dark.
Nice.
I thought that
right.
my class that I went into with my sunglasses on was dark.
Ha ha ha.
Hey,
Wait.
I thought it was funny.
it's darker.
Sorry, man. All right.
What are you doing?
So, as for myself, I've been. You sent me that earlier.
I know.
For our audience out there, it's
The
a
picture of
a
Tingle.
picture of Tingle from The Legend of Zelda,
Creepy.
being very creepy. But as for myself, I watched the 23rd episode of Fate Zero.
What?
I just wanted to rewatch it since it's one of my
You
favorites.
didn't invite me.
And also because we have a little ongoing joke now where my good friend over there, Kenneth McNulty,
Yeah.
never finished Fate Zero. So I'm
I
posting.
did. I just didn't tell you because I wanted you to keep posting the pictures.
No, you didn't. You never finished.
You're not there today. You didn't know.
I know you didn't.
That's not true.
Really? Okay, then what's the ending?
Yeah. I know the ending. The whatchamacallit, the Grail explodes, covers everything, burns, kills everybody, comes back like, oh my gosh, sequel.
No.
And everybody
It's
dies.
true. We already told him. What
Yeah,
to
I
do.
know the ending.
but that very last part was not true. Who are the last people that lived?
Yeah, Gilgamesh and
Fine, Kenny, let me ask you something. What is the last line of dialogue said in the last episode?
Desu.
Nope, he hasn't seen it.
Okay.
Okay, so I just watched that episode. Really great. An important character happens to pass away in an epic way in that episode. It's not that. Shush! Don't you lie to our listeners. And then I watched the series Red vs. Blue, and they just finished up season 10. And it was interesting. At the end of their episode, they had a trailer for a new show by their animation director, Monty Ohm is his name. And it's weird. It's called Ruby. Apparently, is how you pronounce it, but how it's spelled is just RWBY. I don't know how exactly they make the W.
Is it still in Halo?
No. It's just like pure animation. It's actually got this cell shaded sort of look to it, very stylized but very actiony. And it was basically the idea is that there are 4 characters: a red, white, black, and yellow. Obviously, thus the name of the show RYBY or RWBY. Sorry, and it was just basically this little Red Riding Hood looking chick with a scythe that could also turn into a rifle, and she was just beating up all these
What?
wolf creatures, and it was pretty cool.
And this is the people at Rooster Teeth made this?
Yep.
Dang. They're still doing Red versus Blue. That's not
Yeah.
stopping.
No,
okay.
no.
I
This
knew
is just
that,
a new
though,
thing they're
'cause I know they
doing.
transitioned to Halo 4 in the season finale.
Yes, they did.
So it's going to be pretty snazzy.
It's gonna be snazzy, all right. All right, Mr. Zajac, what have you been watching?
Recently,
Yes,
not much.
that's pretty exciting.
Yeah. No, I don't have time to be exciting. Either I pass classes or I be exciting, and well,
You could do a happy medium and just be like,
no.
okay.
It just shuts them down. Aw, all right, and then what about
There
you, Mr.
is no
McNulty?
medium.
Mr.
I
McNulty?
watched South Park on Wednesday.
Oh, that's true. I watched South
Yeah.
Park.
Oh,
too.
no.
We did.
My dad made a joke from there, and
I
I was
watched
like,
American
no,
Horror
you
Story.
did
Freckles?
not. No, it wasn't the freckles. It was something else. I can't remember what he said, but I was like,
whole
you
show's
did
a
not
joke,
see
I mean.
that because he hates South Park as much as I
No,
do.
my dad, I remember years ago back when it was cool to watch it, my dad, I was like, can I stay up to watch TV? It's like, as long as you're not watching South Park. And I was like, of course not, Dad. And I watched South Park. Oops.
Does anyone
man.
watch American Horror
Did you at
Story?
least tell him?
Is that just me?
Nope.
you
That I know watching my friends do.
See,
Okay.
I'm not usually a big fan of South Park. I haven't really seen that much of the show.
It was an
but,
alright
but I will
episode.
say that episode I thought was pretty funny.
I didn't much
Star
care for that episode,
You saw
honestly.
it? Star Wars one.
Yeah, I saw it. I didn't much care for it.
It's just they had the time Star Wars, and it's funny they did, but
I
still.
guess it's just because I'm a big Star Wars fan. I was like, okay, that's kind of
I
clever.
still like my favorite episode so far this season is the rascal tipping episode.
I haven't seen it.
No,
I don't
no
like
idea.
South Park at all. I don't think it's funny at all.
Raising the bar.
Oh yeah. The one where he's like going under the
I'm a
sub.
Family
He's like,
Guy
I'm raising the bar. I've heard about it.
Do you like Family Guy?
I
heard
just started
rumors.
today.
Yeah.
I began reading
Family
Once
Guy
Upon a
people.
Klashma.
Yes, we know you're the lowest common denominator. You don't need to keep reminding us.
Aw.
What?
What?
Using math terms on an anime podcast.
Math terms, how does
Excuse
that
me.
work?
Excuse me. The term is least common denominator.
Whatever.
I read the first like
Chris
6 pages of this
confused
book,
face.
and
I
Clara
don't even
perused
understand
it.
where that came from.
It's a good book.
What's the premise?
Why are we fractions?
Once upon a clash, dude, divide your attention.
No,
Stop it.
I don't want to.
puns.
I'm
I
gonna
need
add
to
some knowledge and
No.
subtract some of the old stuff. Now,
Well,
come on, son.
subtract the knowledge you're going to give me.
Okay.
I'm so confused.
No, okay, but this book, the premise, it's just so weird. It's like all the women in the world disappear, so all the men become wizards.
That makes
What?
sense.
They begin becoming wizards, so guys are trying to turn different things into girls because they're
Oh.
lonely. So then there's like these two main characters are like the people who are in the special division for the government to stop other wizards from going haywire, like your D&D campaign, just like that. Except so many people are there to stop them.
Stop them.
Yeah, and it's really it's
What's
actually
on
just
the
one
back?
book. It's a lady.
Oh,
Yeah.
I can't see it when it's sideways.
But yeah, pretty much the whole thing is they're trying to get ladies back and stop other wizards from going haywire.
Interesting.
It's kind of cool.
Well, very fascinating.
Oh, the main character's not a wizard. That's the other thing. Everybody else is, but he's like not a wizard.
Of course, we follow the one non-wizard.
Yeah.
But his best
He's a
friend,
non-dragon.
underdog.
his best
Makes
friend has
it
an eye
interesting.
patch and is a wizard and jumps real high.
He's a non-dragon.
Great. All right, so let's get into our main topic of discussion for this week, which is the film Royal Space Force: The Wings of Honneamise. I probably should have looked up when it came out. I think it's late 80s, like 87,
Didn't it tell us?
88.
I thought it said, yeah, it was like
I think it was,
83.
no, I don't think it was that early.
If it says it on Hulu, it was right there. It literally had in parentheses the
We
year.
have phones.
We do. Although we shouldn't be using them on the podcast.
Wings of
Katie.
Honneamise, you said?
It's Wings of Honneamise with an H.
Honneamise?
Honneamise, yes. So yeah, it's a film that came out. It was the first thing Studio Gainax actually produced before they went on to do things such as Evangelion, Gurren Lagann, Fooly Cooly, like lots of great shows that they've done since then. Ava being a bit more debatable in our circles, but
I haven't seen Ava, so
Oh, that's how you spell it? Honneamise?
can you
1995.
really?
So not the 80s.
Oh, I thought it was in
What?
the 80s. Well, that explains why the animation looks so good because I thought it was. It's a really nicely animated film. I thought it looked too good for the 80s.
wait,
When
is
was
there a
it Bullet
difference
Maze?
between the dubbed and the...
No, there shouldn't be a difference.
Why'd you shake your head?
iPhone man.
Oh.
Okay. Anyways, kids. So yeah, the animation was really. I like the best part of the movie. I have to say, is the animation, especially during a lot of the action scenes, was phenomenal.
I like the montages.
Yes.
All a million montages.
So many montages.
Yeah.
I was hoping they play like
no
you know.
one talked.
During some of them are some 80s music. Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, no Rocky music or anything like that.
This is disappointing.
That one building exploded once. That was funny.
Well,
And then someone died.
well, exactly.
whole
That was
war
funnier.
at the end.
Spoilers.
Oh yeah, we
not
will.
important.
We will be
Then
spoiling.
an old woman
Of course
shot
we
at
are.
him.
I'm pretty sure that we just
Wasn't
need
a
to
woman.
put spoilers
Oh, yeah.
next to our name for
He
sure.
knifed an old man
because
who
that's
was a
basically
woman.
what we do.
Yeah, pretty much.
We just
No, he knifed an old
Spoil.
man dressed as a woman inside of a tractor on a train track
really.
while he shot at him.
and got away with attempted blank.
He,
Yes. Well, we'll get into that. So,
And he
had
was
a-
wearing a
first-
skirt.
first
he
of
was-
all, there will be spoilers for the Wings of Honneamise. So let's keep all of that in mind.
Chris, you can do it, boy.
You brought up the building thing. I just thought that really sort of came out of nowhere because it's like, all of a
when
sudden
the doctor died.
The building explodes and it's like, okay, I guess that's part of the fledgling space program things explode, whatever. But then they make one of the cooler supporting characters, the old doctor guy. He just dies from it apparently. Like he got hit by some falling debris, even though he ran away
He
way
was like-
before the main character.
Yeah, he
left
bolted
him
away.
to die.
Yeah, he looked at him. He was like, "Good luck," and like ran. And then the main character was next to it and lived. And they're like, "Yeah, the doctor died." And we're like,
I explained that to you, Kenny.
the fact that the doctor's horribly unlucky.
No.
We
I thought about it at the time, and it was that. What was it? That it went upwards, so it blew out the top, but it didn't go towards him, so he lived, and he had no problems because it blew out the top. He got hit by the roof. That's how he died.
That's
So
how it works.
he's like the
possible.
Wicked Witch from Wizard of Oz.
Dude, his legs curl up afterwards.
Who?
Yes.
Wait, the main character or the
no,
doctor?
no, the doctor. He's the one who
not the
got
main
hit by a
character.
roof.
Wow.
Pretty much a
I
house.
obviously
Yeah.
missed the whole story if we thought that the main character was the Wicked Witch of the West.
No, not
What,
him.
you missed that part where he dressed up in green paint?
Dude, we watched Wicked.
Ran
We
around
were
on a
singing
broom.
along with it. Where were you?
I guess I was asleep.
Me too.
That's a good musical. Jeremy, did that bother you at all? The random out of nowhere death from the exploding building?
Jeremy was doing chemistry.
That's true. You were.
Honestly, it didn't bother me as much as you guys.
It made sense to me.
I think the whole point for the scene though was trying to show how much they were willing to sacrifice to try to do this.
The Great Doctor.
I agree.
The great doctor.
The doctor.
Ew.
Ow.
What did you guys think of like the intro part of the movie? You know, we're getting introduced to the whole fact, like there's that intro monologue where they're like showing the planes taking off of the aircraft carrier, and he's talking about like how he wanted to be an Air Force pilot, but no, he got stuck with the Space Force. And
He's
how,
a bum.
yeah, he's something of a slacker.
Slacker.
I'm a
Yeah, 'cause
slacker.
you find their like program is very low funded, obviously, because it's this fledgling space program, and they just look like dropouts or something. Because the way they're in class, it's like unorganized and nobody pays attention. And he's
No
like the
one
first
wants
person.
to be
Were they
there.
the first group, or was this
In
an
their
ongoing
country.
force?
Well, I think it was an ongoing thing because you saw that montage of all the rockets exploding.
Yeah, they're just. It's,
So
yeah,
they've been
People
trying
have
for a
died.
while.
it's just so many failures.
Because they had the guy at the beginning of the movie. They said, "Oh, your friend died in the last, attempted launch or whatever."
Right.
And everybody was telling the main character like not to go through with it because they thought
How
for
are
sure
there
he'd
so?
die.
I guess how are there so little of them though?
I guess.
And really, I don't think no one did anything other than the main character, and even then, he just
everybody
kind of
else
showed up
lazy.
the test.
the others helped, like they were in those montages, helping build the rocket or in the training,
Spinning him around
Yeah,
in that
spinning
chair
him.
thing. That looks like so much fun.
I would just no.
I puke.
Yeah.
There goes dinner.
Yeah,
Dinner tastes better the second time.
I wonder
No, it doesn't.
because
No.
this is
What about second breakfast?
Stop it.
this is supposed to be set in some sort of alternate, reality like Earth.
What?
I guess I know it's sort of weird. Like there's some odd technologies thrown in there, but it feels sort of like something out of the 50s or 60s. I guess based on like the timeline of when space travel was really like getting going. That's what I'm guessing anyway.
I didn't see a JFK though.
So
We will get a man to the moon. Well, at the end of okay.
Jeremy's staring him down. Oh man.
did they have a president?
Well,
They had that like king guy or
It was
his
the
weird
emperor.
prince guy
Yeah,
who
that's
looked
right.
kind of like a troll and had a really weird voice like this.
I was trying to find my laughter, but I couldn't.
nice.
You lost your laughter.
Yes, that's like the SpongeBob episode.
Oh
Oh.
god,
I broke your laugh box.
That's
no.
a sad
Anyways,
one.
yeah, it is.
Yeah, I thought. What did you guys think of our two main characters? The protagonist guy, I don't even remember his name.
I like the kid.
the astronaut, and
It was
then
like she something.
Toshiro.
and the,
Toshiro.
I think that sounds
Nah,
familiar.
it was like Shiro or something. I don't know.
I don't know.
What was it, Jeremy?
Nobody remembers.
Chemistry. That's his answer.
It was physics, by the way.
Was
I
it
thought you said
really?
his name was physics. I was like, no.
Nope.
It wasn't physics.
But no, him and then the main love interest and her creepy daughter, or not
That
daughter.
She
Wasn't-
was
no,
my
that
was-
favorite.
It's-
He made her launch across the room.
What?
No, she was still sleeping. Don't
No,
worry.
when the girl flew. Like when when he's laying on the
launch.
strings, the girl's like leaning and she like flew
No,
backwards.
that's
Oh,
not
yeah. I
his
remember that.
fault.
But she flew backwards. It was
That's her
hilarious.
fault.
No, that's what I'm saying. You just grabbed, she leaned, and then flew.
That's so.
It's hilarious.
Well, that is pretty funny.
That's what I'm saying. It was just really funny.
Oh, I thought you were like trying to point at him.
no,
like,
no,
"He's
I'm
a
just saying
bad
it's
guy.
funny because he flew. She did.
She did, yeah.
Knocks children
It
around.
wasn't actually the girl's daughter. It was just some.
Yeah,
It was
girl.
like her aunt's kid or something like
Get me
that.
a
So it was
star.
her aunt's house, and then she died.
Yeah, I guess.
Also,
stars.
And then the house died.
apparently, you were incorrect. The dub version came to America in '95. However, the movie itself released in '87.
Huh.
Oh.
Okay, so there you go. Thank you for the clarity, Mr. Zajac. So I was right. So
I was closer.
See, so actually, yeah, for late 80s, this film is really well animated.
Yeah, no, that's why. Yeah,
So everyone kind of looks like they have South Park eyes.
I didn't really make that
maybe
observation.
South Park got Wings eyes.
Maybe.
They're
But I mean, like, everyone always kind of look cross-eyed, like, all the time.
hey guys.
That
know.
bothered me a bit.
I can see it.
You bring up
South Park?
you bring up the dub. Personally, I thought this dub, like, it wasn't. There wasn't anything bad about it. There wasn't anything particularly great about it either. I just sort of thought it was a mediocre. Like, none of the voices really stood out to me as particularly good. But then again, none of them stood out to me as particularly awful either.
The old guy's funny.
The old guy was funny. There were actually some clever lines of dialogue, here and there. Although the majority of the movie was a little bland in that regard.
Shall we?
What? Was I the only one who really never felt any chemistry between our two main characters?
Definitely after a certain point, I felt nothing. I'm just gonna point that out right now.
This movie has weird morals.
I would agree with that. I mean, he just sees her and
Was made in
she's
87.
passing out like the religious papers or whatever, and then he comes over to her house and they just sort of talk about like space flight and
That spider thing.
The
what's-
kid's pet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
On the rope. What was that?
I think it's just
This is
a,
what happens when you don't have real friends.
I thought it was just a toy.
That's what
like
happens when you're a
for real
creepy
friends.
child.
Yeah, and then the kid is literally just stares at him. I think the kid says like 3 lines in the entirety of the movie.
Get a star!
Yes.
The voice isn't bad.
Yeah, that was.
She speaks the lisp as well as this. She kind of
She's
mumbles.
4.
That's true.
Yeah, that was
Was she
one
really
voice. That was a
4?
little,
I don't know. She looked about 4.
little bad.
Alex.
Yes.
I actually do need to go. I'm sorry. Because I thought I was going 8 to 9.
I see how it is, Kenny.
Why?
Bye, Kenny.
And Kenny's abandoning us because
Hope
he wants to
you
go to
find your
improv.
dad.
Oh,
I see how it is, Kenny. We reject you.
Hope
Get out
you
of this
find your
podcast room.
dad.
I'll see you guys. Hate me.
I'll name my Poliwhirl after you.
Poliwhirl?
Yeah, he asked for a Poliwhirl.
that's right. 'cause it's his
she's
favorite.
naming all of our favorite Pokemon. I think.
If you catch a Lapras, you can name it
Okay.
Alex.
By the way,
Okay.
Alex.
Also, if you
the Lapras.
find an Alakazam instead, you can do that. You can do that.
Okay.
Alakazam.
Nice.
I got
Okay.
Mightyena. Kenny got Poliwhirl.
Yeah.
I thought it was Poliwrath that you like. No, Poliwrath doesn't have the gloves.
Okay.
Yeah, it does.
Does
It
it?
just looks angrier.
You should make it. You should evolve into Politoed just to make him mad.
No.
Wait, there's
It's
a
cute.
Politoed? Is that a
You
new
didn't
one?
know about
It
Politoed?
evolves with the
What is
trait,
wrong
I
with
think.
you?
Well, I haven't followed Pokemon much after the 3rd generation.
You would
so-
still know about it.
Politoed was Johto.
Was it
Yeah.
really?
Yeah. Was
Mystique
it a water
got it.
stone? That,
No, it's King's Rock.
there you go.
If I saw a picture of it, I would immediately recognize
It's
it.
a big
I'm
green
sure.
toad.
Politoed.
Literally a big green toad.
Oh, yeah, I do remember that now.
Tangents.
Yeah, that one was a little off.
It was weird, but it was still cool.
It was cute. It was so happy all the time.
It was a big toad.
Big Toad.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Anyways, back to the
I
movie.
speak in fractures.
That early scene in the movie, like all that little conversation does is apparently inspire him to be like, okay, well, this chick wants me to go into space, so I'm gonna volunteer to go into space.
If only without easy.
And thinks like, okay, if I do this, then the chick's gonna like me. And then they have some other interactions throughout the movie, and they just sort of talk, and there's not really like. It's not like there's hatred, but it doesn't seem
mean,
like there's that much affection.
He doesn't even like accept her religion. He was like, "Oh, I forgot that we pray," and just awkwardly sits there as they pray before their food.
I know. And it seems like the little girl is just like, she's onto him because she's just staring at him the whole time. Like,
Well-
get out.
Kids know better, man.
Apparently.
I would eat your heart.
What?
I wish the kid did that. That would have been an exciting turn in the movie.
I don't know. I think one of my favorite scenes in the movie is where Shiro almost takes the kid out.
Oh, what you mean
When?
with
Yes.
the sweater?
Yes.
That's not.
This bothers Chris for some reason. I don't quite get it because he's holding on to the straps of
He's
his.
not moving. The kid is moving. All he's doing is
I don't
holding
care.
onto the string.
I
The
don't
string.
care. He almost
the kid
took that.
throws herself back.
I don't care. He should have kept it. He should have just held on.
All
Should've
right.
just held-
Well, then from now on, whenever somebody falls over because I hold the string, I'm gonna say it's their fault.
As you should. I did think, like, I agree with you. Like, it's obvious that she's just sort of going back, but it does get a little weird as like the thing keeps on getting tighter and tighter to string around like the sweatshirt. It's like, oh my god, is he choking her? Like, what's going on?
It
here?
doesn't look like she's moving back.
To me that she was moving back.
It didn't look like it though. Like you
She
saw.
wasn't like stepping back. She just leaned back.
Maybe I wasn't paying enough attention.
No, it was
possible.
really hard to tell. The only reason I could tell was because his feet weren't moving and he was really far away from her. So it's like, unless you are suddenly growing your arms at massive rates, there's no way that would make any sense.
This is Looney Tune Land.
Bugs Bunny is our main
Space
character.
Jam.
I used to love that movie when I was a kid. I know
Used
if
to?
I know if I went back and watched it now, it's probably got
I
loads
think it
of
would
problems.
still be awesome.
The song is awesome.
The songs are all
this
awesome.
day.
And it's all about Shiloh.
Wait, Shiloh? I don't.
No.
I don't get the reference there.
It's not a reference.
Oh,
It's a movie.
I haven't,
You haven't seen
I
Shiloh?
don't think I've
It's like
seen
the
Shiloh.
saddest movie ever
The
when I was
dog
a
one?
kid. Huh?
The dog one?
Yeah.
I can't watch movies with dogs. They make me sad.
I remember watching Old Yeller when I was really
Nope,
young.
nope, nope, nope,
that
nope,
one,
nope,
that
nope,
one's bad.
Nope.
Not gonna lie.
I'm gonna drink my water.
The one thing I did think was quite cool about this film, like, you know, I wasn't really that hot on it in general, but things I did think were cool, like just the story of this like fledgling space program, it very much reflects like how those organizations were treated at the time when they were just getting going. You know, like nobody really respected them, and it brings in the politics into it, where they move the launch from where it was going to be into the demilitarized zone in order to incite the opposing nation to start a war. And you know, and then it's got these elements of spirituality and like philosophy, and like how the main character is sort of being constantly attacked by the media, you know, for these various events, and how that sort of wears him down. So there's some interesting real world, you know, themes and, you know, layers of depth that give
And
the
then
movie.
we went back in time.
And then we get that ending. How about that? Because
It's all about real world. Are
I
you
mean-
sure about that, Alex? We went back in time, man.
well, what's interesting about it is like I like everything leading up to that point. You know, it looks like the army is moving in, and they're like, okay, we got to shut it down. We can't do the launch. And then Shiro gives his inspiring speech, and they're like, all right,
Which
let's
wasn't
do
really
this.
that inspiring.
Not really. It was pretty cliche. Not really that much we haven't seen in 1,000 other movies. But he says it, okay, that's cool. You know, they're doing all the launch stuff. Meanwhile, it's cutting back and forth between the fights going on, which, like Kenny said, were really well animated, actually. You know, and those were exciting. And then you get the actual launch of the rocket itself, which was well animated. And I liked how all the soldiers just stop fighting, and they're like,
Yeah,
well,
instant peace.
I was trying to kill you a minute ago, but now I gotta look at the shiny lights.
Well, at that point, I wonder if they were only there to like shut down the rocket, and they obviously failed. So they're
And
just
they're
like,
like, "Aw, crap
"Oh, our
baskets."
mission's done. See ya."
Yeah. Or and to be fair,
Thanks,
this
they're better.
is the first time they've ever seen a space shuttle launch in their
That's
life.
true.
That
so-
doesn't explode.
It doesn't explode.
Yes, probably. And then we get
Does
up
he
into
get back?
Then we get up into
We never
space.
know.
And that's all cool. And then he starts like this speech and like about, you know, world peace and spirituality, and like says a prayer, and then we flash through like images of his life, and then we transition from that into images from human history, like from the cavemen up to
It
the
takes like 15
today.
minutes. It goes on forever.
It's not that long, but
Yeah, it doesn't go on forever. It just feels like it does because you realize how stupid it is.
yeah, and then we get like a cut back down to the girl handing out the flyers, and like it starts to snow, and she looks up at the sky like where Shiro is, and then the movie ends, and it's like, what? Like,
Does he make it back?
yeah, what? There's-
He's dead. He's
Dead.
the snow. He got
I don't
toast.
get it. I mean,
Maybe it's his ashes.
Jeremy has something to say.
no, he's just getting close to the mic
He's
to
just
stare
really
at
close
it.
to the mic. Jeremy, speak. No,
No,
you're the
I-
one that speaks the most.
I think that it might just be a thing with me because personally, I like to see movies like or just fiction in general, like to have like some sort of conclusive ending, you know, some sort of resolution. So movies that end a little bit more ambiguously, I'm not usually the biggest fans of.
Sword and the Stranger.
Well, sort of The Stranger wasn't ambiguous.
Nope. I just really like it compared to what we just watched.
Well, no, I definitely agree with that. Sort of The Stranger was 1,000 times better. But
Those
I mean,
poor
because the
chickens.
problem is with this film, like, okay, so he's in space, he's had this little memory thing, he's said this speech to the world, and then what? You know, What's so funny, Chris? Did you get a text? Chris is dying. I don't know what's going on. All right, he's handing me the phone. Apparently, Kenny just has a habit of texting various meme faces.
Oh my god, no!
All right, you have to give it to Jeremy. Come on.
I wonder if
This is great for an audio podcast. I'm sure for all
that
of
should
our
be like
our listeners out there.
everyone
What is that even
doesn't
from?
even laugh. Okay.
He's immune to humor. What is that? Does anybody know what that movie, what the image is from?
I did. It's a really bad movie.
What is it?
It's Speed something. I can't think of the name of it right now.
Racer.
I don't think that's Speed Racer.
You never know, man.
Do you recognize the face?
I don't want to look at that.
Do
no.
want. I don't even get it. But now I've been derailed.
Scariest.
Well, with the ending, like, okay, so he's in space, he does the speech, we go through the existential moment where we're like all getting all philosophical for a moment, like going over human history. It's like, okay, whatever, do your weirdness, Gainax. We know you have a taste for doing that. And then we get on, and the movie just ends, whereas we don't see anything about, whether he made it all the way around. Oh, these meme faces. Jesus. We don't know if he actually, like, succeeded in his trip. After we cut away from him, did he just go and crash, on Earth? Did he successfully land? We don't know if he lived or died. We don't know if the people at the launch command area, there was a giant army coming towards them. Did they all get massacred?
They just go home and watch like cartoons.
Well, even if they had just done like it doesn't have to be long. It could just literally be a minute. Like, okay, so he lands, they're safe. The two love interests get together.
But
the end.
See, I
didn't
thought
they
like,
say that they didn't prepare for a way back? Didn't they say that they didn't prepare for a way back? I thought that they mentioned that they didn't.
It's possible. I mean, it seems. I'm not sure
I
if
don't
I would
remember
agree
that.
to go up into space if I knew that I was
History,
going to
man.
die.
well, like there's one part in the end where like it looks like something's bobbing on like the top of an ocean, and I thought maybe that was like the pod that comes down or something. I'm not looking at that picture you're showing me because it's gonna be bad. I'm not looking at
I
it.
wish we had a link dump like some podcasts
Nope,
do.
I can't see the microphone's right in front of it. I can't see it.
It's just the same face for all you listeners. I guess just Google do
No,
what or something like that. You
no.
might do want. You might find a face, the face we're talking about. And one of the other things that I feel like we have to talk about on this podcast is the little event that happens about midway through the movie that just sort of comes and goes and has no reaction on all of the characters. And I don't understand why. I mean, basically, for all you listeners out there, our main character, he's not the most charismatic guy in the world, but he seemed pretty nice, and he's got this
Decent guy.
Yeah, he's got this relationship with the chick, and she hasn't really returned any of his advances, but he hasn't really like seemed that upset about it.
Like he hasn't really tried. He like touched her hand that one time, and then she was like, "Nope."
And then he's in her house because they just ran into each other. It was like raining or something, and she's like changing, and he just like completely.
Wait. Before that, like she took off her shoe, and then the money fell out.
Oh, that's right. I almost forgot about that because Jeremy, you can talk about the history behind that since you're more knowledgeable about Japanese culture than we are. Apparently.
No, I'm not. Not
No?
even a little
Well,
bit.
you knew this fact, so
No, he knew it, but I don't think he wants to say it over the podcast.
Yeah, I'm a little. I feel a little awkward
Want me
admitting
to
I knew
say
what
it?
this was.
Word.
want me to say it in a baby voice?
Yes, let's hear it in a baby voice.
Because that's going to make it even more awkward.
I think it'd be great.
I think it would be great. Let's hear it.
Oh, God.
So in Japan, when a woman is a lady of the night, they put the money in the shoes. And so then when the lady had the money fall out of her shoes, when he took her shoes off, he noticed that she was a lady of the night. And then he tried to advance upon her while she was changing.
Indeed.
The end.
I think the baby voice helps, actually. I like it. But, jeez. All right, you guys got to stop looking at the meme faces. This is getting ridiculous.
Hey, I'm still listening. I'm still listening, man.
Okay, well, good.
But I've also said a lot for this podcast.
Which Jeremy has not.
Right. So, some
You want
time
to talk about this?
to
scene?
slack off.
But
man.
yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah. I want to talk about this scene.
Why not? It's fun.
Well, you haven't said anything
well,
about
I'm
the
not,
other scenes.
I'm not sure if I'd call it fun.
Well, I mean, it's fun to talk about funny scenes.
It's fun to talk about.
Well,
funny
this
things.
isn't the funniest.
I think it's funny.
Well, I just
What the hell is wrong with you, woman?
I just don't get just my question for Gainax is just why? Like he's completely stone faced. He goes and
Really
just
stone faced.
comes and just falls on her and is trying to have sex with her, and she smacks him with a shoe or something. He falls over unconscious, and then
kid
she just gets up and walks away, and the kid wakes up, looks at him, and sits back down, and goes back to sleep. And then it's never brought up in the movie again. The girl just seems to act like it's normal and is like, okay, I'm still friends with you, whatever.
I feel like there was a deleted scene for that, and
Where
we
they had
never
a
got
huge
it.
talk about what just happened.
And it was so irrelevant that it didn't matter.
I know. I don't know much about this movie, but I've heard some conversation about it. Apparently, this scene is obviously controversial. Some people think it ruins the movie, which I would be one of.
Yeah.
Other people have a defense for it as far as why it's in there and that it has a purpose, and that some people really regard this film as one of the best anime films
What would be the
ever.
purpose of that scene besides
I don't-
making everything really awkward?
I don't know. It had something to do with social conditions in Japan at the time, and something about the character. I guess the only thing I can think about it is that the character has been, he's doing this whole thing to try to get the girl, and she's just basically every time she's tried to make a move on her, she's put off his advances. And so finally he gets the opportunity, he just goes for it in a really horrible, creepy way.
Yeah.
And then she's cool with it, apparently.
I feel like once he found out that she was a prostitute, he was like, oh, now it's okay. I can just kind of,
apparently.
go on over there.
Which is not how society works, Shiro.
It's not how things work. Do not follow his example.
So, yeah. And the fact that it just comes right in the middle of the movie, and then the movie just goes on from there, it's just so random. I don't get it at all.
Nope.
And then we've got the scene later on where
Maybe we're not supposed to get it.
well, maybe if that was your goal, Gainax, you succeeded. Congratulations, you effed up my brain. And then we get the scene later on in the movie where there's the person you think is an old woman, chasing after Shiro Terminator style, trying to assassinate him. It's
pretty ridiculous.
For the opposing nation, which it was interesting because it was two chase scenes back to back, because at first she's just chasing him on foot, and then it seems like he gets away. And then his friend leaves to go do something. And then the lady shows up again driving some sort of cleaning
Street cleaner
car.
I forgot
and
about
and there's this big chasing where he's running away from it. It's completely ridiculous.
I wonder how you can outrun that. It's probably going about 40 miles an hour.
I know that was a little random, although it was a cool little chase scene and the animation was nice, and that's why I approved of that. One part I thought was strange was he's going up there and he's fighting this person because he's been trying to kill him up in the cockpit. It turns out the old woman was actually a man wearing some sort of disguise, and he Shiro gets either a knife or a gun or something, but he doesn't. At first he's looking at him, but he doesn't actually shoot him. And then the guy wakes up or recovers from the last blow and tries to stab him, or I can't forget if he stabs his side or shoots his side or something, injures him. And then
Shiro?
yeah,
I think he stabs the lady in the leg.
The guy lady?
The guy lady.
The
The guy dressed up as lady in the leg.
Shiro stabs him in the leg.
But I think that was before he knew that was not a lady. And so he was like, oh, I can't
You
kill
think?
this lady here.
I mean, maybe that explains it, because it
he's
looks
chivalrous.
like he's about to kill her, and then he hesitates and stabs her in the knee or something. Then she tries to kill him, and then he's like, "Oh well, I don't care anymore." Stab in the face.
and then it flips over and everyone dies.
So I mean, you already
Not
knew
really.
you already knew this person was trying to kill you. Why didn't you just take him out?
'Cause he is a mental gen.
That's a bit brutal of me, maybe, but still, I wouldn't show any mercy to somebody who would have tried to kill
sure about
me
that?
twice.
Gentlemen.
Are you sure, Alex?
Well,
I couldn't see you as someone to fight and kill somebody.
Well, if it's in a fight for my life, legitimately, yeah, I would. It's called self-defense, man. Yeah, this is the darker side of Alex Schmitz here on the podcast today. That might have been a little too creepy.
That was a little weird, mister.
I'm sorry, man.
Let's make this podcast even more awkward.
Yes, because it needs more awkwardness. Isn't that right, Jeremy?
I'm uncomfortable being in the same room as you people.
Hey, I didn't do anything.
I would agree. All right. And
I would agree. Just random. Those are your weird transitions we're talking about.
Well, sorry, man. Someone's got to run this podcast. It's going off.
Weird
Yeah,
transitions.
right into the ground.
Well, maybe you could do a better job, huh, Mr. Zajac?
Guys, you're just like 6-year-olds.
Yes, we are.
What?
Sound like she said
You're
6-year-olds.
6-year-olds. I have a hard time talking when I'm only like 4.
Did you happen to see the School of Theater was doing Mr. Marmalade?
Yes. Oh my God. No. We're not
See,
talking about that.
Your voice there reminded me of the little girl character.
We're not
in that.
talking about that play.
Did you enjoy it?
Why?
It messed with my head more than I expected it to, and I don't
was
know how to
pretty
react to
disturbing.
it. It was really disturbing.
Basically,
don't watch it.
the premise is that it's basically a
And
bunch
you
of
said we're awkward.
there's a bunch of girls or little kids,
There's a
I
little
should
girl
say.
named Lucy, and she has an imaginary friend.
Yeah, and
Mr. Marmalade.
she's an imaginary friend, except that it's basically like all about sex and violence and
It's really bad.
like breaking up of family relationships and all this.
She
It's
imaginary kills a baby, and it was awkward.
yeah, it's pretty disturbing.
Jeremy's face.
Jeremy's like, please help me. I need to leave.
Don't watch it. It's bad.
Do
It's
not
well acted, but I mean the
want.
whole thought behind it was so
Well,
messed
and
up.
I know that they're doing a production of Dog Sees God, which is it's basically doing a very similar thing, except with the characters from the Peanuts comics, like Charles Schultz's comic strip. And I refuse to see it because of some friends of mine were in it at my hometown. But I refuse to see it just because I love those characters so much. And I don't want to see them like just doing these terrible, horrible things.
Yeah.
So what was everyone's overall thoughts about the movie? For me personally,
I didn't like it.
I thought it was. I mean, I think it's between like okay and good for me. Like the animation is pretty good. You know, the movie itself, I mean, there's not that much all that exciting about it, but it's not bad really either. You know, it goes through. You know, there's some interesting character interactions.
There were other ways I could spend that whatever amount of time that movie
It was definitely too long. Like
2
we said,
hours.
It was 2 hours and 1 minute.
It was 2 hours long, and with all the montages and
the commercials.
and something
Oh,
we
well, the commercials didn't really do much to it.
yeah
It
It
added
was 2
about-
hours with commercials.
Yeah, it was 2 hours. They don't
With that
include
one.
the commercials in that time bar.
Yeah.
But one thing you made me think of, remember all of the, like, there's scenes that just literally last for 30 seconds. And it's just like character talks to the other, character talks to each other, and then it cut away. Like,
Yeah.
And they don't say anything of real substance. So it's like, it seems like there could have been a good half an hour, like, cut out of this movie and made it much more slim.
It's like,
and
hey, let's just put in this really
sleek.
casual conversation that means
Maybe
nothing.
they had to get to 2 hours.
Maybe I can't believe that studios are more likely to make your movie shorter rather than longer. You know, as far as publishers and things like that. But
Maybe it was like
no.
4 hours and they shortened it to 2
I hope not. That would
That
be brutal.
would be. Oh
So
my
I mean, I like the story of the fledgling space program. I think that's a cool idea. You know, like I said, the political and spiritual stuff that goes on underneath. You know, that's had some layers of depth that are kind of interesting. But the relationships between the two main characters on that are interesting. Our protagonist really isn't that interesting. We have this random rape scene in the middle of the movie that just
Wasn't-
completely
Well, now
spoils.
it's all out.
It wasn't exactly rape.
Well,
Attempted.
rape, sexual harassment, assault, whatever you want to call it. You
Jeremy,
know,
It was
Stop that.
awkward.
it just happens in the middle of the movie,
like Jeremy.
and then
Jeremy, you're starting to scare us.
nothing comes of
Stop.
it. You know, you just have to
Scare the
be.
baby, man.
You have to be. Jeremy's doing a little hunchback, evil
Wringing
Dr.
his
Jekyll, Mr.
hands.
Hyde thing right now.
Hey, that was a good book. It was like
stop
the
that.
only book I actually liked from high school.
I actually didn't have to read
I
that
liked
book.
Lord of the Flies. I was the only one.
Lord of the Flies is actually all right.
Didn't read it.
Fun fact about Lord of the Flies: it takes place after the nuclear apocalypse.
I thought
What?
it took place during World War II.
No, it does not.
That's what the book told me.
I knew that and I didn't even read it.
Where-
It takes place after the nuclear apocalypse.
but there are people that come to save them at the end.
Yes, and it still takes place after a nuclear war.
It's basically Fallout.
I guess it's possible. I didn't read that into that.
And I
when
hate those
read it.
games.
Why do you hate Fallout? That's a good.
We're not going into this right now.
Because
All
he's a
right.
godless monster. I think we've
No.
already come to that conclusion.
Because
a
I
while
can
ago.
spend a whole hell of a lot more time doing something else.
Yeah. So I guess my overall thoughts about the show for those who might be interested in watching it, I think it's a movie that people should watch just to get their own opinions on it, because I know that there are a variety of them out there. Some people think it's bad. Some people really love this movie. My friend Matt, who has been on the podcast before, he was saying that it benefits upon a second viewing because you know what that weird ending is going to be, and you can read more into like the stuff that happens earlier in the movie, so you get more out of it the second time. Which
I'm not seeing it again.
which may be true, but yeah, I don't really have the motivation.
I'll
to
see it if you
again.
pay me, and that won't happen.
No, it won't happen.
Therefore, I
so
will not see
so
it
go out and see it just to get your opinion. It's an interesting film, I guess, if nothing
Sorry, my
else.
hiccups.
But yeah, it's sort of meh for me. Clara, what's your thoughts?
What? Overall, it was a decent movie. The random dialogues that made no sense or had any purpose whatsoever kind of made me not like it, and I didn't like the main character all that much, but I liked side characters. Like that one guy who had a cat. He was my favorite. I don't know why, but he was like, yeah, I'm just going to be here with my cat, and I sound like this. I'm going on this boat. Bye. I just disappear halfway through the movie. I'm not important. Okay, bye. He was my favorite because he had a cat, but I mean, that was pretty much it.
Was that like the first scene?
No, remember
was
when they
this
were on the
cat?
boat and they were hitting those wooden things and making a lot of noise?
Oh,
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was on that boat.
I remember.
See, I don't even remember that scene from the movie.
I remember.
That shows
I
how
was
made
the only
a
one who
really
watched this whole
weird
thing.
comment about that.
that shows how much I care about this film.
But I don't know. I mean,
Wait, so you don't care?
could have been a lot better. Like they could have cut out some things. They could have expanded on certain character development things and had a lot more to do
I mean,
with staying on topic.
I mean, one thing to keep in mind, I guess, is that this was literally Gainax's first production, as these like young animators are getting out of college or whatever.
I mean, still,
So-
it's ridiculous. It's like, it's almost, what's the word I'm looking for? It's monotonous
Yeah.
sometimes. And I mean,
It's like my
even
chemistry teacher.
even stuff that I like write now, and I'm nowhere near a professional writer in the least. I don't want to be, but I mean, like I'll read over some stuff and I'm like, I don't need this. Scratches out, and I could have spent like 2 hours on that part, but I just find out later that it's not very good. So I mean, at one point, I think someone should be like, this conversation doesn't add anything to this movie. We should probably cut it out.
I think movies should be like a couple seconds. Here's the beginning. Here's the end.
Like
We're done.
5-second films, but
yeah,
but I mean, there could have been a lot less, but a lot more. At the
I
same
wonder.
time.
I wonder if they spent like less time, focusing on the story and like really, editing the dialogue and everything, like you're saying, to get the
Wake
story
up.
really sleek and working
You're
properly.
in trouble.
And more time just on let's build this world. Let's do some good animation because we're animation people.
So I feel like they could have done a lot
you
more with the
actually
main
fall asleep?
character. What?
Jeremy's looking at a lot of it right now.
He just fell
He
asleep.
fell asleep. He actually fell asleep.
I don't think did you really fall asleep there? Wow.
He jumped up and I was like, okay.
Apparently, we are boring him so much.
He hasn't
we
said
made him fall
anything.
asleep.
I'm sorry. I'm running on 4 hours of sleep.
4 hours?
Oh, poor Jeremy. Chemical
I
engineering
ran on
major,
3.
everyone.
Oh,
Congratulations.
How often do you
challenge
do that again?
accepted.
Huh?
How often do you do that again?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't pay attention.
You know what? I don't get enough sleep. I apologize. I apologize to the listeners for falling asleep on you. I apologize to my compatriots
Patriots.
Yay.
Fellow hosts.
That's me.
for falling asleep on you as well. But I'm very tired.
It would have been funnier if you fell asleep mid-sentence.
So,
that's pretty
guys,
tough to
and-
pull off. So, Chris,
Yeah.
overall thoughts?
I didn't like it.
Wow, deep and meaningful words from Christopher Flake.
I didn't like it.
So you didn't think
know.
there was anything redeemable about
No.
it? All right, there you go.
Not even the montages.
The montages made my head hurt.
all right, Mr.
I don't really think about things when I watch them.
Mr.
It's
Zajac?
not meant to be that way. Stay awake.
Well, I personally enjoy the movie. It's because I paid less attention to the dialogue and more attention to what the theme is trying to convey. and it's mostly a theme about a better tomorrow. Mm-hmm. A lot of I've seen from your guys' conversations that you guys really didn't notice that theme throughout most of the movie. It's really, even that last scene, it's basically the whole reason Shiro goes up into space is less because at that point that he wants to impress anyone. It's more that he wants to show the world that there's something beyond the constant warfare that they've been having for years now.
Yeah. So is that why they move on so fast from the potential rape scene?
This was today, this is now tomorrow, and now it's even better.
That was yesterday. We don't talk about yesterday.
The point behind that scene, unfortunately,
He's going to kill us.
Just let him talk.
Unfortunately, that scene was put in there, I believe, for two reasons. One, to attempt to humanize Shiro a little bit more. Because up until that point, he was kind of, unfortunately, a little bit too saintly. But it was also to show that all the stress of being a national hero and being always in the limelight was finally starting to force him to crack.
Yeah, I mean, you got that a little bit during that bit where he walks out of the commercial that they were going to shoot with him or whatever it was, the photo op. And I did like that, and like you said, the whole thing about for a better tomorrow. I definitely got that closer to the end of the film. It definitely seemed like at some point he he can move, like you said, he moved beyond just wanting to get the girl. Excuse me, what are you guys talking about?
I'm not talking about anything.
She's laughing. I don't know what
That's a mystery to everyone. It's a secret to everyone.
I don't like
as
mysteries.
they might say.
That's why I don't write them.
But I guess
I'll tell you later.
I get the feeling that at first he's doing it for the girl, and then later on he's more just like dedicated to the cause, like seeing this through, because the space program's been such a joke up to that point, in the country and everything. But he's just such a he's just sort of a slacker and really just doesn't seem like all that compelling. The way Matt was trying to tell him it to me was he's just like this normal guy basically. He was thrust into the limelight as being this astronaut guy. Which I can sort of see, but it just doesn't make for the most compelling movie, in my opinion. All right, very good. So I guess that's our discussion about the Wings of Honneamise. For next week, we'll be doing an episode. We want to do one on. I didn't get to talk about it as much as I wanted to last week because we sort of had to wrap up quickly. But we've had the idea for a while of doing an episode basically just dedicated to animation from the 90s, early 2000s, basically animated shows that we grew up with when we were growing up. And so I made a big list of it on Trello, which is the website we use to organize our podcasts and everything with tech heads. So I'm going to read off a little list of things that I thought of, and everyone else
Scooby-Doo.
That's what I need.
Again, not from the 90s.
There were episodes in the 90s.
Let's not talk about that.
But why?
We will talk about that.
It's still my childhood.
They're terrible.
It's my childhood.
Well, we can talk about them even if they're terrible. It doesn't necessarily have to all be good stuff.
Yeah, what about all the movies that you made us watch? The bad ones that we purposely watched?
Like Angel Cop.
Oh, Angel Cop.
You weren't forced to watch that. I'm going to throw that
We're not
right
forced to watch this.
The idea...
But the problem with, the difference here, unfortunately, is that the original Scooby-Doo, which was in its own right only okay, I enjoyed it much more when I was younger. Now that I've gotten a little older, it's like, wow, this is really, really low quality.
It's not meant to be for people our age, doorknob.
Doorknob?
No, let me rephrase this. There's still some old cartoons I still really watch, and they're still fairly enjoyable. The big one being like Johnny Bravo. Go ahead and rewatch Scooby-Doo.
Bravo.
Scooby-Doo is ugly.
I like the movies.
Johnny Bravo and Velma
Not
are my
the new
favorite
ones.
crossover ever.
The older ones.
Interesting.
The animated ones.
I agree with Jeremy a little bit. Like I love Scooby-Doo as a kid, and I'll still occasionally rewatch it like on Boomerang.
I wish I got that channel.
It's actually a really cool channel because they got all the old
I had to
cartoons.
pay for that, and I
But
was going to.
but if you look at the animation, like it's obvious that Hanna-Barbera didn't have any money for that show.
Hanna-Barbera.
I forgot about that.
There's also another episode that actually just kind of made me want to bash my head into a skull. My
Head into a skull.
yes. I have literally. I'm so upset that I want to take a skull, preferably Scooby Doo's,
Okay,
and
Hamlet.
smash it into my head.
Okay, Hamlet.
He's an infinite man of jest.
What episode is that?
It's the episode with the Three Stooges.
I haven't seen that one.
There's one line in particular. Hey, I found this uranium. You mind if I keep it? Well, okay, it won't hurt you.
Wow, and they don't address this at all.
No.
I like the Three
What?
Stooges.
That's a little off, but like I think
Ow.
as soon as you said like they're old animated shows that you can still watch and enjoy, the one that immediately came to my mind is just classic Looney Tunes. You know?
Oh yeah, those are hilarious. Those are. I mean, now that I'm actually a little older when I watch them, I actually get more of the jokes.
Yeah,
Well, that's the
for
point.
sure.
Like Tom and
Or
Jerry.
old
is
Tom and Jerry.
terrifyingly-
No, Tom and Jerry. I did not like Tom and Jerry.
It's terrifyingly
It's not
brutal.
It's not funny. Is part of the problem. It's
really,
uncomfortable.
It's really meant to be.
I-
Like the
It's
one episode
really
where Tom
uncomfortable.
sat on the railroad tracks waiting to commit suicide by
yeah.
getting hit by a train.
We talked about that one at one of the Tech Heads get-togethers.
That whole show is just really uncomfortable, and you can't. I always feel bad for Tom, and then Jerry. I hate Jerry. Most of the time, Jerry starts it, and then he went. And then he always.
Occasionally, yes, but most of the time it's
usually
Tom.
no. Only in the later
I forget which
episodes
one's
Tom
which.
started it.
Tom's a cat.
And they only did that because
okay, never mind.
they didn't want the creators didn't want the audience feeling bad for Tom when he got hurt. Even because Jerry, believe it or not, was originally the one who started it in almost every episode.
I mean, I'll have to rewatch
had-
some of the older
In the
ones.
believe
episode
it,
of the Three
actually.
Musketeers, like Tom gets beheaded, and they're like, "Oh, poor pussycats," and I'm like, "Wrong reaction."
that one's
He's
bad.
dead. He
I don't know.
doesn't show up now.
I still enjoy Tom and Jerry just because it's like, I mean, just the timing of the physical comedy, like it's pretty spectacular.
It's pretty freaking brutal.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah,
Point.
that is the point.
They
You
use
know,
guns.
You don't see stuff like that in animated shows nowadays.
You can't
I
even
wouldn't
like
even
say
be able to pull that off
die.
in real life.
Well, of course
Well,
not.
no,
you can't drop an iron on somebody's head in real life and they live.
Challenge
can't-
accepted.
you can't chop them into little tiny bits with an axe and then watch them get back up.
Exactly.
What if you're the Terminator?
Well, if you're the Terminator, then maybe.
What if you're
Okay.
Aang?
No, and can't survive getting chopped in
No.
half.
I guess you're right.
I'm afraid not. Okay, so the list that I have here for 90s to early 2000s, and I'm stretching a little bit on some of the early 2000s animated shows, I'll admit. I have The Magic School Bus, SpongeBob,
Carlos.
Fairly Odd Parents, Batman the Animated Series, Samurai Jack, Tailspin, Animaniacs, Dexter's Lab, Arthur, the Disney film animated shows like Aladdin, Little Mermaid, Timon and Pumbaa, Tarzan, Hercules, Winnie the Pooh, Chippendale Rescue Rangers, Goof Troop, Recess, House of Mouse, Kim Possible, Johnny Bravo, Powerpuff Girls, Ed, Edd and Eddie, Courage the Cowardly Dog, Codename Kids Next Door, Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, Pokemon, Digimon, Dragon Ball Z, Yu-Gi-Oh! And then there's this show that my sisters are reminding me of that was on
Oh, no.
the channel Jetix, or it was
Jetix.
a block on Disney. It was called Oban Star Racers.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, you recognize it if you see it. It's
Yeah.
got this 3D-ish look to it. It's some
How
sort of
did they remember?
I don't know. They were apparently they were trying to remember like what it was called, and they like wanted to call me about it. And as soon as I Googled it and looked it up, like I'm like, oh, I remember that show.
Okay, random question here. There's a show that I watched when I was little that no one else knows what it is. Apparently, like I'm the only one who's ever watched this show. It's called Toad Patrol.
Never heard of it.
Exactly. No one knows what the show is, and it was
I've seen it.
awesome.
Oh, I remember this show. My mother always told me I had such a great imagination just staring at a blank TV, just watching it.
It's a real show.
Candle Cove reference, everyone.
It's a real show. I promise. I'm not crazy.
I like all the weird colors. You know,
All right.
on TVs, the funny colors.
Okay, I'd like to remind you what you missed on that list.
Okay, let's hear it.
Freakazoid,
Freakazoid. That's it. I didn't actually watch that one, but I've heard of it before.
I didn't
so.
watch a lot
Jackie
of
Chan Adventures,
Yes.
Yes, that's a bad one to forget.
It's a bad
Megas XLR.
Yeah,
I
okay.
haven't watched that.
Vegas XLR.
Get out of here, you pleb.
No.
Oh, do you want to
Sorry, I
add
spent my time
Yu
doing
Yu
other stuff.
Hakusho since you like that one?
Kuwabara.
Actually, yes. Why don't we add that? No. I feel like we should actually just do an episode just dedicated to that show.
Please.
I haven't
please.
seen
I haven't seen that. I've seen more of the abridged series. I would have sent that to you. It's actually really good.
Please.
Not. I would say let's not do it for the nostalgia one. Let's actually just save that one and we'll watch like the first season.
Okay, well, we could do that one day maybe. Anything else?
Let me think about this for a second. I'm trying to think of stuff that you guys would have probably seen too.
One I thought of. The old, not the new Clone Wars show, but the old 2D one. Because that one's actually really good.
That one is really good, but
that.
it wasn't a TV show. It was a miniseries.
Okay,
You're talking
we'll,
about, like, the
we'll stretch it a
animated
bit.
version?
Yes.
It's actually made by
That one actually wasn't that bad.
No, it was good. It was good, but it's a miniseries, so that's
it's made
really
by,
stretching it.
It's made by the guy behind Samurai Jack too.
Wait, for Yu-Gi-Oh, it's only the first season, right? The first one before we get Jaden or whatever his name is.
Oh,
Jaden.
Trust in the
Yu-Gi-Oh
card.
GX. Well, technically,
No.
there's multiple seasons
Well, I
within
mean,
the
like,
first Yu-Gi-Oh.
We still have Yugi, Joey, Tristan.
Yeah.
Female.
Brooklyn Rage.
Yeah.
I apologize,
Yeah.
Little Karibo, if you accidentally hear that.
If Little Karibo listened to this, I would freak out.
Yeah, I would probably be really happy.
You're gonna get an email soon.
That'd be awesome.
Get a C and D from Little
Instant.
Karibo.
Like he's in a position to do that when he's the one infringing on
Parody.
copyright.
Parody is protected speech.
I know. I agree with that. That's why I don't want his videos taken down. Anyways, Clara, Chris, any thoughts on shows we should talk about that I didn't mention?
You had a lot on that I forgot about until this point. So
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
amazing
know.
how quick I haven't thought about a show or seen it in years, and then I hear
Rugrats.
it. Oh, Rugrats, that's a good one.
Thank you.
I don't. Did anybody watch the show, The Book of Virtues? It was on PBS.
Nope.
No.
It's.
If it was on
I went back
PBS, I didn't even touch
I went back and rewatched it.
Wishbone.
A year ago. Wishbone's not animated though.
I love
true.
Wishbone.
That one, I watched a little bit of that. It was always a little weird to me. I didn't quite understand what the story.
You forgot
was.
Justice League.
Justice.
Oh,
How dare
that's a
you.
good one.
You forgot
Teen Titans.
What about
Teen Titans.
Oh yeah,
I'm just naming
What
stuff.
about
No, yeah, that's a good
what's
one.
it?
Teen Titans was still fun. Beast
Kablam.
Boy.
What?
Kablam.
Kablam. Do you remember that show? It
Nah.
was, I forget what episode or what channel it was on, but it was awesome. And it had Action League Justice Force or something like that, or Justice League or something.
One thing
It was awesome.
Oh well, it's not animated. I was gonna say Power Rangers, but that's obviously not animated.
Wasn't
I
there
don't know
an
if I could
animated
watch
Power Rangers?
that.
I'm sure there is, but I don't recall it from our childhood.
Dragon Ball Z?
I had said that one.
Oh, I missed it.
That is,
I
I
haven't
would
watched Dragon
again,
Ball Z.
since that is an anime and it's not a. I would again save that one for its own show,
Well, I mean,
especially
like
Dragon Ball Z, considering that
I mean,
you need it.
the-
It's like a.
the way I'm thinking of doing this is because we can't go out and watch all the episodes of all these series. So we'll just bring
Well,
them
of
up.
course you can't watch all the episodes of Dragon. It's like 400 episodes.
Exactly. So,
I've
so
read
we,
it.
So we just talk about okay, I'll bring up Dragon Ball Z. We talk about that for 5 minutes. Then Dexter's Lab. We talk about that for 5 minutes.
Since we need to,
blah,
since,
blah, blah,
since,
blah,
we're-
blah.
since
We're
we need
literally
to,
gonna have a
since we need to,
stopwatch. 5 minutes.
No, I'm
since
just
we need to rewatch a refresher on most of these, I'm gonna say. We only pick 4 of them, and I'm gonna say let's lean away from the anime ones.
okay.
Sad.
We can always come back to the anime.
What if we choose this is a rather long list. What if we choose just 10? Let's say 10
But
10 non-anime shows.
I'd like to remind you though that some of us don't have time to watch.
Well, but I don't even think we need to rewatch it. For example, Fairly Odd Parents. I haven't seen that show in a while, but I can.
I love that
That's
show.
one. That's one we don't have to rewatch because that one's still fresh in our memory.
It
Yeah,
has gender bending, men in dresses. It has MPreg. It has everything.
or Batman the Animated Series.
That one, no, you need to rewatch.
Well, but that's the
I've
thing.
never seen
I
that.
don't
Static Shock.
remember.
Did you add Static Shock?
Static Shock.
I do recall
The
that
first
show.
season of Static Shock is really good. The remainder is pretty bad.
I only
Kenny
watched a little
loves Static
bit.
Shock. Do not say that to him.
He'll give
He'll
you a
cut
shock
off
to
your-
your system.
He'll cut off.
I
your
didn't
arm.
watch that one.
No,
much,
I mean
but-
again though the first season's really good, but it's when as the show keeps going, it gets bad. Also, we forgot Batman Beyond.
Oh yeah.
I didn't watch that one as
Beyond.
much, but I'll add that. Sure, Batman Beyond.
But okay, let's just pick because there are a couple of most of these. I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm going to need to rewatch them to have really any sort of a good opinion on them. At
Some
all.
of them,
And
maybe.
Grim Eventually Billy and Mandy, I can talk about for hours.
I haven't watched them in so long, and I know for a fact I didn't follow it.
Fred
But
Burger.
yeah.
Eh.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Fosters.
Foster's Home
Oh
for Magic
yes,
Friends.
Foster's Home for Magic Friends. I love that one.
Blue.
If we do that one, could we should we just watch the movie or watch?
They have a movie.
Yeah.
Well, that was the
Actually,
I
the
think
first episode.
Yeah, the
technically.
first episode would be just fine for that.
I actually own that one because it was free on iTunes.
It was free on iTunes.
Yeah, and the first episode of Megas XLR free on iTunes.
Yes. Is it the pilot lowbrow or is it the actual first episode?
It's the actual first episode, I think.
I mean, they're both really good. The whole I love Megas.
All right, so
Haven't seen it.
Me neither. I've seen. I think
I've only seen
I
the
don't
first
know.
episode,
I don't
but
know.
it was good from what I saw.
It's astoundingly good. I was stunned. I'm still surprised at how good it
So
is.
I definitely think we should do Samurai Jack because I know
Yes.
you and Kenny are big fans of
Haven't
that.
seen
one.
That was that one even up for debate? If it was a maybe, honestly,
Haven't seen it.
Well, you should. Well,
you really should see
Well,
Samurai Jack.
I've seen like 1 or 2 episodes, but I didn't understand it, so I turned it off.
he's a lost cause.
He really is.
Hey.
Because I was thinking that maybe sometime this weekend, like on Sunday or something, we could do a watching party where we just watch like one episode of this show and then one episode of that show. Just
Works for
Spend
me.
the whole
little-
day watching. Start
Well,
at 8 in the morning.
Hey, remember we have
Mine.
Monday off.
We do have Monday off.
That's true.
That would be interesting.
We can
But
spend
Jeremy
all
probably has
weekend
homework.
watching all of this.
You know what? If I have a day off, I'm more than willing to take that day off.
Right. Okay, so we got Samurai Jack.
What?
I know you also really love
4-day
Dexter's
weekend for
Lab.
me.
So I think that's one worth going on there.
Class tomorrow. 1 class. So I count it as a 4-day week.
Lab.
I have class on Tuesday.
What about SpongeBob Fairly Odd Parents?
I'm almost half tempted to say no SpongeBob because there's really only SpongeBob is a spectacular
We can
series.
watch the first couple episodes.
but everyone has talked SpongeBob to death at this point.
Yeah, I mean, well, we could honestly do a
camping
full episode on
episode.
SpongeBob.
Let's
There's
gather around the campfire
Oh,
and sing our
God.
campfire song. Our CAMPFIRESONG song. And if you don't think that we can sing it faster, then you're wrong. But it'll help if you just sing along. Bum, bum, bum. CAMPFIRESONG song. CAMPFIRESONG song. And if you don't think that we can sing it faster, then you're wrong. But it'll help if you just sing along.
Don't you dare.
Don't! Squidward!
Good.
It'll help. Okay.
We're done.
But
I,
yeah,
I love how we just did that spontaneously.
yeah.
That
I'm
was
gonna
awesome.
say skip SpongeBob for this one.
Okay. So we'll say Fairly Odd
We
Parents.
covered it
then.
in that past 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. That's all you need to know.
That's
I
all you
mean,
need to know.
first 100 episodes of SpongeBob, amazing.
Even
All
the
about campfire
movie,
songs.
great.
Yeah, the movie's good too.
I love the movie.
Everything beyond that, don't bother.
Is he a mermaid?
No.
Are you a wizard?
Um,
Bigger boot.
one I personally wanted to talk about was Kim Possible. 'Cause
Yes,
even though that was
yes.
something of a girly show, I still loved it.
Yeah, it's not that I dislike Kim Possible per se, and it's a good show for the most part. It's the problem is that for every good episode there were 2 that are so forgettable that
Okay,
Yeah,
this
to
is
be
a
fair.
rather girly show, but does anyone remember As Told by Ginger?
oh god,
I loved that show so much. Rocket Power.
No,
I missed that. I missed that show so much.
The theme song was cool. The rest of the
Yes.
show was
The
not.
theme
I
song was
loved
cool,
that
and
so
Tito made the
much.
whole thing.
Tito was the only likable character in that whole show.
I
Tito
liked
made it.
Reggie.
Reggie? I don't even remember
There
their
were other
names.
shows like does people remember Doug?
Yeah.
No,
Dog.
Oh,
no,
God.
no,
Cat dog.
Cat dog.
no.
See, yeah, that's
The
the thing.
episode where
Like,
they meet their parents.
I don't really like those shows, so I personally wasn't a big fan.
Cat dog?
Stimpy.
Who?
No,
I didn't watch Ren and
cannot watch
Stimpy,
that.
but
I'm sorry.
but I know people love it.
What about Rocco's Modern Life?
Nope.
I can bear that.
You have terrible taste. You know
What about
Oh, you
Invader
don't like
Zim?
Cat Dog?
Yes, I love Invader Zim.
don't remember Invader Zim.
Invader
Yeah.
Zim wasn't bad.
I only watched a
Wasn't
little
my
bit
favorite,
because
but-
it was
I
on
watched
late
it,
at night.
and
My
I know
mom
what it
always
is.
said no.
I just don't remember anything.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna need to pick about 10 of these, and that's what we're gonna watch on Sunday.
Right. Okay. I
On
think
Sunday or Monday?
Sunday,
well Sunday or Monday. We'll figure it out.
since we have Monday off, we can do it all on Sunday.
What about? I think Jackie Chan is one to do
Oh, yeah.
because everyone loves that show.
Kenny will love you forever. Wait,
I'm sorry, I need
did
to
tell
thank you. Goodbye.
Did I tell you
One
about
more
what
thing.
happened last year for Jackie Chan?
No.
Kenny kept saying that we needed to watch that Jackie Chan series, and every time that he mentioned it, we would go to bed and we'd wake up and his computer would automatically have his internet open and to a site with Jackie Chan playing as the background. It was hilarious.
It's actually pretty great.
We just couldn't figure it out for the life of us, and it didn't just happen once. It just kept going on. It just kept showing up. It was like we don't.
Kenny
understand.
must be asleep. Internet surfing.
He's a wizard. All right. What else do we have on here? I wouldn't mind talking about at least one of the Disney film shows because, like, I watched Aladdin.
It might as well be Aladdin was the best out of all of those.
I did like Aladdin.
Timon and Pumbaa isn't bad,
You
but
did-
Aladdin was better.
Well, this one's like for real little kids, but I remember loving the New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. Like when I was little.
Oh no, the New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh was actually pretty good. The problem is,
There's not much to talk about, I guess.
yeah,
What were
it's
the
Winnie
elephants
the
called?
Pooh.
Oh,
The
heffalumps.
Those terrified me to no end.
All right, Aladdin. I think that's fair.
Aladdin.
Again, it would be either Aladdin or Timon and Pumbaa would be what I'd say for that one.
All right. What about Powerpuff Girls?
I
Since
guess
we're doing
so.
since we're doing Dexter's Lab and Samurai Jack,
Oh,
I know they're not made by the same creator, and I understand that, but it's just
Maybe either Dexter or Powerpuff Girls.
I say Samurai. Are we doing Samurai?
Yeah.
Samurai Jack is
Hands
non-negotiable.
down.
Non-negotiable.
It's non-negotiable.
All right. I mean, I think we'll keep Dexter's Lab then because that show is pretty good.
I haven't seen that in so long.
I know I haven't either.
So good.
What I would like to talk about Teen Titans just because
Yeah.
I love that
Teen
show.
Titans.
Okay.
I really like Teen
Cyborg
Titans.
is the best character.
Cyborg.
I
Yes.
liked Raven.
Based
Yeah.
on powers, I'd have to go with Raven.
When I was younger,
But then I liked
Like-
Terra later.
when I
didn't
was
like
younger,
Tara.
I
I like
liked
Tara from
Beast Boy a
Powers.
lot, but going back and rewatching it, he's pretty annoying.
He's so annoying, but I ship him and Raven pretty hard.
Character-wise, I like Cyborg. Power-wise was
Okay.
either Raven or
And
Terra.
if we're talking about animated shows from the 90s, we have to talk about Batman the Animated Series.
Yes, and we also
Yes.
talk about Johnny Bravo.
Yes.
Bravo.
Okay, Batman. and
I would
Johnny Bravo.
argue that those are like the pinnacle of high quality.
I thought
Johnny
you
Bravo.
I thought you loved Dexter's Lab, like you said that was like equivalent of something like Cowboy Bebop. Or
It
whatever.
is, but I would argue that Batman the Animated Series and maybe even Johnny Bravo are better.
Okay. What
Did
about
you know what the
respects, I
animators
guess.
said? Like the people who made Dexter's Lab. Do you know what they said about him?
What?
That the episode where he acts all crazy and he kisses the duck's butt.
Yeah.
That's him actually, like in real life. Like he's actually autistic. And Mandark is also autistic, and they think they're scientists, and Dexter's Lab doesn't actually exist.
That's depressing.
Well, and you had said earlier, like, why do you have Bear in the Big Blue House on here? I watched
'Cause it was
I watched a
awesome.
YouTube video because the main thing I remember from that show was the song at the very end when he sings "Goodbye with the Moon." Apparently, the voice actress for the bear got some sort of disease, and they waited to do the 4th season until this person got better, but she didn't. I think she might have even passed away, and so they never did the next season of the show because they basically said we can't do it without her. And it's and then you're watching them sing goodbye, goodbye, good friends, goodbye, and it's like, oh no, tearing my heart out.
Feelings.
Okay,
Why was I given
so we need
emotions?
2 more. I was thinking Foster's would be a good
Yay,
one.
Fosters.
Another
I
bit
feel
more
sorry for
current
the
one.
people sitting here still listening to this.
Yeah, at this point.
I'm
Hey,
not.
we've had some good entertainment. Some good.
And now we're
Funniness.
boring them with clerical details.
Yeah, we've been going.
Fine. And then I'm debating between Megas XLR
Magus.
or the Clone Wars show.
Magus,
Clone
Magus,
Wars,
Magus,
Clone Wars.
Magus.
Stop it! You're
Fight to
spiking,
the death.
spiking the mic.
Fight to the death.
Magus!
Oh Jesus Christ!
Mother, son of a biscuit.
Sorry, listeners. You can kill Jeremy for that one.
I haven't seen either of them, but I'm a Star Wars fan, so I
I
vote for
am
Clone
too.
Wars.
And I love Star Wars. However, Star Wars The Clone Wars is not as good as Magus XLR.
But you already got your vote, man.
Well, I don't care.
Well, I didn't get mine.
Well, you know what? Nobody cares about you.
Actually,
Well, I
looking
guess
at
no
we
one
already
cares about you.
we already have 10, but I mean I think we can go to 11 or 12.
Take Magus.
Well, I mean, the Clone Wars, like you said, it's a mini series, so it really wouldn't take very long to watch a little bit of it. So let's just do both.
That's what I was
So
laughing at.
we'll do that, and we'll call that good. So
it.
for our next episode of next week of Shredded Cels on 90s and early 2000s animations, we'll be doing Samurai Jack, Dexter's Lab, Fairly Odd Parents, Kim Possible, Jackie Chan, Aladdin, Teen Titans, Batman the Animated Series, Johnny Bravo, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Megas XLR, and The Clone Wars. I think that's a pretty
That
good
took
lineup.
you 48 seconds to say that.
That can't be 48 seconds.
No.
It's more like 10 seconds. All right, so, yes. Sorry that you had to hear all that clerical work, but we figured this out,
I'm
and
not
you guys
sorry.
know what we're going to do. So you can be excited. Go home and watch those shows if you want for a refresher, so then you can hear us talk about them. Since we actually know we have some listeners that are related to the people on this podcast. All right, so thank you guys very much for listening to this episode. Thank you guys for hosting with me. You can email us at techheads@avwproductions.com. You can follow us on Twitter at techheadsou. Like us on Facebook, subscribe to us, rate, review on iTunes. We need some, 5-star reviews. Those always help. You can read our stuff at avwproductions.com. We're on YouTube at avw media. You can watch our Tech Heads videos, bits and bytes, things like that. So thank you guys very much for listening to this episode of Shred Cels, episode 18 on the Wings of Honneamise. And we'll see you guys in a week when we talk about all the nostalgic animation of our youth.
This product is copyright AVW Productions 2012.